Dee is a revenue recovery specialist, founder of BCS Solutions, and author of Collect the Cash. She works with small businesses who want to solve their cash flow problems. She's on a mission to keep businesses in business. So Dee, welcome. I am so excited to work with you on our summit. You've been such a positive, even-spirited contributor. Great to have you.
Hey, Janet, thank you so much. And happy Monday to everybody that's listening on LinkedIn. I'm excited to be here. Wow, you know what? Here's a great lesson already about being in business. Sometimes you have challenges when you're in business. You could be going live or not going live. You could have technology issues, or in my case, you have issues collecting the cash. But here's the thing: you've got to be willing to be flexible for sure. You definitely have to be willing to be a problem solver, and you've got to stay the course. So I just wanted to say that because I think some people might need to know that you have to be willing to stay the course, and know that you will win. So there you go.
All right. So first question I have for you right now.
Sure.
All right. And I'm curious, why did you get into revenue recovery?
So you want to know, so you and your fabulous listeners want to know, so what had happened was.
Yes.
That's how I always start. So the story of what had happened was about 18 years ago, I used to work for a small IT company outside of Boston, where I'm from. You've worked in corporate, so if you know how it is. Welcome aboard. Here's your cubicle or your office. And in my case, here's your cubicle, and here's $8 million in outstanding receivables. And they're like, "Can you collect this?" I'm like, "Sure, I can." A little nervous, but of course, I would have said it straight. I'm like, "Of course, I can collect it. No problem." What? So they give me my list of accounts. There's $8 million, and they have a collections team. And these were corporate clients, government clients, and I guess the team just could not crack the code. So I had experience in both. So they're like, here. So in 60 days, I recovered $6 million. And then the unthinkable happens. The CEO of the company says, "Come downstairs. We're going to have a chat." And so I'm thinking we're going to get a bonus because salespeople get commissions. And they said, no, we've made an executive decision. We're closing the company today and letting 100 people go, including you. Thank you for your service. Out.
Wow.
So
wow.
I'm sure, like you, Janet, you've had something in life that has jarred you, that's kind of done one of those things. You're like, did this really just happen to me? Well, that's what happened to me. That's what happened to me. That's really what happened to me. And so fast forward, a few years later, I was sharing this story, and my book coach happened to say, "Hey, Dee, have you ever thought about writing a book?" And I'm like, "No." And so we played double dutch, and she won. And she also said, "Hey, you have a system to teach small business owners how to win," because she said a lot of us don't know how to engage our clients, or what do we say so we don't embarrass ourselves, or how do we not mess up the relationship. And she was like, I need you to teach us what to do what you've done, for corporate and for government. And like I said, we played double dutch because originally I was like, nah, nobody. I'm like, because think about it, Janet. Who really wants to know about collecting invoices? Unless you've got clients that owe you money, this is not the thing you wake up and go, "Man, I really want to figure out how to do this." Nobody wakes up and says, "I want to do this." Most people want to do sales, marketing, project management, all the sexy stuff. But collecting cash is sexy to me because, listen, when companies owe you money, that's very sexy to me. I want to make sure you get paid.
Yeah, and that's very important because our receivables as small businesses and entrepreneurs, really, it will kill you.
Absolutely.
We tend as small businesses to give more than corporate. So, okay, we may give people discount. We may give them a longer time to pay. And sometimes we deliver before they've paid simply because of relationships.
Yes.
Sometimes that doesn't work so well. And then you end up holding the
bag. You end up being short. And part of why I got into this is because of what happened to me personally working, because when I worked, as I began the story, I said I worked for a small company. It was a small IT company, about 100 people. And then I started looking at this part of business, which is receivables management. Nobody really talks about this because, number one, it's not sexy. Number two, most people just think that you do your sale, your contract, your invoice, you get paid. But if you ever get ghosted, is what I like to call it, by a client, you're like, what am I supposed to do? And if you don't have the tools or knowledge, which is what I'll talk about more at the summit, like how to handle this better. But I got into this because, number one, I wanted to be able to make a difference. Secondly, I wanted to leave legacy. What I want is, when I'm no longer here, you can punch my name and you'll find my body of work that will teach you how to do this. I also want it to be so it's not so daunting when you have to deal with a client, because I feel like this. I say my tagline is collect the cash. The sale is not complete until the money's in the bank. But as confident as you were to ask for the sale, you have to be just as confident to ask for the money. To me, they go together.
Yeah. So when you deal with entrepreneurs, and I'm sure you've dealt with many that have problems with collecting. I myself, for example, I just let it go. It's too much to fight with people, and I just said, let it go. So we lose a lot of money when we take that stance.
Right. And
but then we get into the trend of trying to follow up with invoicing, follow up, and then you spend so much time chasing it that you really want to find out which is the best really use of your time. So I'm really interested to hear what you have to say about this. And before we even get into that, I want to find out from you. I want you to tell people, the audience, anyone that would listen, why it's important to invest in themselves when it comes to being an entrepreneur and small business owner. In other words, to learn these things so that you can grow and know how to get ahead of it. Because a lot of entrepreneurs, we think we know everything, right? Especially solopreneur, we're like, I can do this, I can do that. But the small things sometimes takes us so long simply because we don't know how. We don't have the tools, the skill set, the techniques, the knowledge, and we just think we can do it ourselves as entrepreneurs and small business owners. But I want you to tell me, why should people invest in themselves, especially entrepreneurs and small businesses?
Yeah, that's a great question. So here's a shameless plug. Y'all are listening. Please make sure you sign up for Business Strategy Summit. You all need to come and learn from me and my favorite my fabulous cohort of speakers. One, because none of us knows what all of us knows. The panel that's going to be speaking in a couple of weeks, all of us are experts in a variety of different things. When you start your business, I jokingly say it's like this. You usually have had chicken wings or a shot of tequila or a beer or whatever. And you're like, oh, I got this great idea. And then you've got the great idea, but then you don't know, for example, you don't know that you need articles of organization, that you need an EIN number. You don't know you need a business bank account. That's one. Number two, you don't know whether the market actually wants what you sell, because you're the ninth person that's come up with these fabulous chicken wings or whatever it is. I'm being funny, but the point is that you don't even know whether the market will be interested in what you have to offer. Number three, why is it so important to invest in yourself? Just like in anything in life, the more that you invest in yourself, the better you get. If you think about it, most people that are very successful, personally, professionally, they have coaches, they have mentors,
right.
They read, they read books, they take classes, they go to summits like the one we're talking about. They have collaborations with other people. They have mentors that are further along in their business who can come back and teach them how to do things. Because here's the thing, even though you've started your business, you don't know all the components of business. You know that you had this great idea and you made it official, and then you're like, oh, how do I get better at this? So the way you get better is that you come to things like this. So Business Strategy Summit, you come and you sit and learn from the experts. You take great notes, you read books, you go back to school if necessary. You attend conferences, you need to read books, you need to get mentors. You also need to be okay with making mistakes and then course correcting so you can get better. The reason I get to talk to you today, as Dee Bowden, revenue recovery specialist, is because I've had a career doing this, number one. Number two, I've gone to school, I've had mentors, I've invested in myself, I read a lot of books, I take classes, and I'm willing to be okay with not knowing everything, because the only way you get better is that you know what you know, and then you have to figure out what you don't know, then go figure out the people or classes or books that can teach you what you don't know, and then implement. Because you go from expectation to execution. If you want to get better, you got to get the information, then you got to learn how to implement it, and then you got to do it.
Love that. And I want to add to that, if I might.
Sure.
That the environment, no matter how many classes you've gone, no matter how many coaches you have, the environment is constantly changing, especially today.
Yes.
There's always something new coming out. Technology's moving. People's behavior
Mm-hmm.
change constantly based on what's going on in the world. The lockdown completely changed the landscape of entrepreneurship, small businesses, and people's needs.
Mm-hmm.
What's required. Here it is, we're doing a virtual summit. Before we'd have been doing face-to-face, and then we have to learn all the tools and all the techniques to
Yep.
communicate and to network and all this. So I embrace what you just said.
Thank you.
So I want to ask you now.
Sure.
Let's talk about what you're going to be talking about at the summit. Inquiring minds want to know.
So inquiring minds want to know. So I'm going to talk about collect the cash, and I'm going to talk about the 5 tips that every business owner needs to collect the cash. And so I will teach you why it's important to, I'll give you 1 tip, why you need a tracking system. And then to get the other 4 tips, you got to come to the summit.
So can you tell us what a tracking system is at least? What do you mean by tracking system?
Okay, so what a tracking system is, you know what? I'll tell you what a tracking system is by telling you a story. Is it okay if I share a story?
Absolutely.
Okay, perfect. For all y'all who are listening, whether I'll tell you what a tracking system is by teaching you this, by telling you the story about buying your cell phone. All of us have a cell phone, whether you're team iPhone or Android. It's like this. When you buy your cell phone, you walk into the store, it's like, hey, Janet, welcome to whatever company it is. And they're like, hey, what brings you in today? And you usually say, something on my phone isn't working. The salesperson usually will say, hey, well, before we get started, can I get your driver's license, please? They basically scan your driver's license, confirm that you are a customer with whoever it is. You have account number, blah, blah, blah. They confirm all these things. And then they say, what's going on? Before you know it, they're like, Janet, did you know you were eligible for an upgrade? You're like, I didn't come in here to buy a new phone. I just came in here to get this one thing on my phone to work, and that's it. But before you know it, so the tracking system is, number 1, there's a sale. So they plant the seed of a sale to you, and they'll suggest, why don't you go walk around the store and see if you want a new phone? You're like, I really didn't want to spend any money. I just want my thing fixed. I just want to leave. Get out 30 minutes or less. Boom. So the tracking system has the first component of it is a sale. So there's a sale with your cell phone. Then they say, Janet, we can transfer you from your old phone to your new phone, and you put you into a new contract. So there's a sale, there's a contract. Then they'll ask you, sale, contract, order fulfillment, which is basically they're going to enter this new information into your account. Then it's order entry. They're going to do that. And on the back of the phone box, there's a barcode, which they scan it. All that new information concerning your phone gets uploaded into your account. So there's a sale, there's a contract, there's order entry, order fulfillment. Then there's what's called accounts payable. So in the tracking system, you're going to have the name of your customer, the contract number, the dollar amount. What did they buy from you? When are you supposed to invoice and when are you supposed to get paid? So back to the phone story. So you have a sale, you have a contract, you have order entry, order fulfillment. Hey, Janet, yes? When do you want your bill, which is accounts payable? The phone company is going to bill you every month. And in your invoice, you're going to have terms and conditions, whatever you bought, whatever amount of phone space you bought from them, whether you're buying the phone outright or whether you're on a payment plan. And then you're going to say, okay, I pay my bills on whatever date of the month. That's accounts payable. They're going to bill you. Accounts receivable, which is what I do. So there's somebody at every phone company that's collecting the cash. They're going to collect the money from you, and they know how many accounts are coming, how many accounts are due, and how much money is due per account every single day. So they're gonna collect the money from you, and then before you leave the store, you're gonna walk over to the register. You're gonna sign a new contract, and then they're gonna say, "How would you like to pay for the phone today?" You'll say, "Cash, debit, credit," and then these 2 magical words appear: transaction approved. What I just described of how you buy your cell phone is how you track what you do. The phone company has your name. You have an account number. There's what they sold you was a new phone. They have your payment terms already set up. When they're going to bill you, they already know when you're supposed to pay them. And before you leave the store, all those things happen, or you don't get to leave the store without the new cell phone. So the tracking system is that, and the cell phone that's the visual that everybody can understand, because everybody has a cell phone. And what I just described of how you bought your cell phone is how you track your account. You have a customer, the contract number, the dollar amount, what did you buy from you, when do you bill them, when do you get paid, and a section called notes.
So I'm suspecting that once we walk away from the summit, after listening to you, we're going to need some behavioral changes.
Absolutely.
It can't be business as usual, because what you just described to me is how we should be running business. And like I said, sometimes we overextend ourselves to our clients that are not as kind and honest as we think they should be. And so when we have a system that prevents us from giving away the shop, the store, then it's easier. And the system, I'm thinking, would allow us to not have to have the conversation to say, a fight with the customer. It is the system. So they have to go through the system to be able to get to the next step. So I'm curious to see what that looks like. So you've sparked my interest.
Oh, good.
So you sparked my interest because, I'm a kind person.
Yeah.
And so I always like to give more value to my clients. And
of course,
so this is something that will keep me from overstepping my own boundaries. So I'm curious about that. So I thank you, Dee. I thank you for agreeing to be a part of our team.
Absolutely.
And to those that are out there, I'm curious to hear the rest of what it is that we need to do as entrepreneurs and business owners to make sure that we collect the cash. And, one of the things you say is that the transaction is not finished.
The sale is not, I say it this way, the sale is not complete until the money's in the bank. And the thing is, one of the things I want to make sure that, people that are planning to attend the summit know that sales and AR go together, sales and payments that go together. Part of the conversation I want to be able to have is, yes, I'm going to tell this story and I'll give you more points. But more importantly, I want you to realize that as an entrepreneur, you need to see your sale all the way through to the end. That's why I use the cell phone example, because if you're a business owner and you realize, oh, if you take your takeaway is you understand how you bought your cell phone is how you track your clients, track your payments, you'll see it differently, because you realize when you bought your cell phone, you didn't get to leave the store until you made a payment, you had a contract, everything I described, all those steps happen. It's the same process for your business, whether you have 1 client or 100 clients. The point is that you need a system to track everything from your clients to your payments to when things are due, and then I'll give you what do you do when things stop.
Right. So
hold on,
we're gonna have to talk.
I think I just lost my screen. Hold on, my screen just went blank. Uh-oh, sorry about that.
Oh, you're here. You're there. I'm seeing you. Oh, okay. So we lost Dee, and I hope you enjoyed the chat. And I'm hoping that you will join us at the summit. That's November 14th and 15th. And I look forward to seeing everyone there. Thanks for joining us. Bye-bye.